Today we got Josh Saylor, Saylor Farms, technically artist, I believe is what your locale is, what you would like to call it. Harriet, okay. He's actually taking a place of another gentleman that couldn't make it today, so we appreciate him stepping in. Drew Courtney, Oaks, North Dakota, and Mr. John Linder, Marion, Ohio, Mount Gilead. I'm not sure. Okay, all right. So we got a little cross section. So we got South Dakota, southeast North Dakota, and central Ohio. So guess we'll just get right to it. Just if you guys can just give a little background of your operation, what you're raising, just kind of what you're up to, how long you've been you've been around, or generations, and how maybe things have changed in the last 15, 20 years since to today.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and just so you know, how did someone from Ohio end up here? My daughter is Joanna Gall, who works for Lighthouse Commodities, and she works out of our farm office. She's remote. Pretty beneficial to me because my marketer is next door in my office. So it's a real benefit for us. Our farming operation, Mom did a lot of research. God bless her, she's gone, but she says 6, 7 generations. I kept saying, I really don't look like I came across on Mayflower, Mom. So we'll just quit. It was my grandfather who really was a basis for the operation. My dad continued when he got out of the service, and my brother and my wife and I currently run our operation. Kids are involved. Youngest daughter works for us. I'm looking forward to the day that the kids say, okay, Dad, we don't really need you here today. But that hasn't happened yet. And I'm sure in this environment, they're probably thinking, well, let's see how this comes out the other side before they really make that commitment. Farming with my brother has been my lifeblood. Dad had livestock, we didn't. Brother and I really didn't take to livestock that well. I don't know whether it was just the dirt clod fights were more of our gig, or riding a fender, because I was the little brother by 4 years. For all those years, we just chose to farm together. Mike's the oldest. I try to show that respect to him in our operational decisions. We're corn, soybeans, seed beans for decades, currently in the longest growing contracts with Pioneer. That's been a nice niche. Around 2009, we found out we probably needed a little more diversity because we lost a pretty sizable chunk of ground. Just couldn't make it pencil the way the landowner really wanted it to, and he had people standing in line for it. So didn't really look too harshly on that, just looked internally, and we decided to start a propane business. And that has really grown, and that diversity is really helping today. I would say we really haven't grown our operation since we lost that ground. Maybe we should have, but we focused on this. Really didn't want to get in rent battles with our neighbors and friends. Really value that feeling of community and work closely with our neighbors when somebody has trouble. We're there. When we have trouble, they're there, and we really value that. Propane's been good for us, but it's been a challenge too. And as I was talking with some of the folks in here, you really don't know what it means to have accounts receivable until you deal with a public that will tell you that probably inflation is more real than the politicians want to give it credence.
Yeah, Drew Courtney, farm in the Oaks, North Dakota area, 5th generation. I've been going for a while. I started farming full-time in 2012. My dad didn't farm, my 2 uncles did, but I had the opportunity to move down in 2012, so farm with my cousin down there. We do corn, soybeans, and a little bit of small grain we'll do if we're going to put some drain tile or something in the summer. It's a lot more enjoyable in that September time frame than November after corn harvest, so that's about the gist of our small grains. Married a gal from western North Dakota out here. Her family does registered Hereford, so I actually learned a little bit about cattle now, which I don't know much at all. And then maybe just some unique aspects too. Rather than diversifying into animal ag, we just do some Airbnbs. I got a construction management degree too, so I guess another little aspect that we use to diversify. But yeah, just happy to be here, I guess, and go from there.
I'm Josh Saylor, down from the Harriet, South Dakota area. Grew up on the home farm where I am currently. We used to do custom harvesting, you know, the whole Texas to Canada type of thing, and grew up doing that, and had some opportunities present themselves, and got into farming more and more, and less out of the cattle and more into farming, and now I'm fortunate enough that farming is what we do. We, you know, the corn, soybeans, a few small grains. Fortunate enough to have I got a set of twins that are both back on the farm. This is their first year out of college. And I got another one that's in his first year of college that's coming back to the farm. So kind of the fun way of the future. You gotta force me not to slow down or let things pass. You gotta stay on top of things. And, you know, it's fun to work with it. Kind of I don't know if it's a dream you want to call it, but it's fun to work with your kids and to see the next generation take over the farm. So that's where we're at.
All right, well, a few of you guys touched on unique aspects, challenges. Anything else along that vein, or that, and maybe more so, is challenges, especially as maybe we move into the 2026 crop year, finishing up the 2025 crop year. Obviously low prices, but is there other things that are, you know, front and center that you guys have been challenged with here as we move into the 26 crop year and crop cycle?
You know, I guess for us, a challenge is, you know, with the next generation coming home to farm, it's finding enough now. I mean, margins aren't there. It's finding that extra avenue or some more off-farm income or different avenues to keep, you know, to keep everybody financially stable. So that's probably our biggest opportunity or challenge moving forward in the next year or two, which also creates the opportunities. The next word, right? It's opportunities to have two more sets of eyes on the farm wanting with different ideas, and maybe they want to try this, or hey, maybe we should get into that. So that's another opportunity that you know, presents itself, and I guess, you know, that pulls it all. You just take it, adapt, and run with it.
Yeah, I think every year in farming is a challenge, no matter what, whether you got high prices or low prices. There's going to be weather or situations that arise that you don't even see coming. I guess labor is always a topic up here too, and with the previous AI speeches, we're trying to put a little bit more of that on our farm. I guess I'm not going to say AI is going to save the world by any means, because I'm still the guy under the tractor hollering at Siri because she's calling Dave instead of Titan, and got hydraulic oil moving down your arm because something messes up there too. I understand how the real challenges actually work, but just trying to free up that time space and be able to use your time more wisely to conquer those challenges if you can, however they come up, I guess.
Wouldn't pretend to say that diversity in your operation, like I said, we chose something that's a little bit related to ag, but totally different when we chose to start a propane company. That comes with a different set of time management. And that's another reason for us not growing exponentially at the same time. It would be a tremendous load on time and management. So it's worked out well for us, but I would caution folks to think that you can diversify your operation without thinking about that time piece that everybody's been referencing. But, you know, as far as challenges, I would suggest that one of the biggest ones I think we're all fighting is the cost of inputs. And I think that the recognition that you all probably have that our associations are working on our behalf on that, and it doesn't seem like we move quickly enough. But, you know, those folks have, as I shared with someone else, had a little taste of blood, and they like it. They realize they can garner a portion of our profits and they really don't care if it takes all our profit away. They're going to do what they do best for their business without a whole lot of regard for us. They feel like their business never got any support in risk management from the government like we do, so they don't feel so bad for you. And I really would challenge you, and I'll tell you why. I'll give you the background. I was on the Ohio Checkoff Board, chaired that for a while. I got involved with NCJ on action teamwork. I chaired the Trade Policy and Biotech. From that, I went to the National Corn Board, which got to know fellow North Dakotans from that work, and I ended up being the president of National Corn Growers during the COVID, which brought a real recognition that there's a real change coming. And it's not just AI. We've all learned to use the internet for meetings. Who hasn't done Team or whatever version you want to consider and found it to be effective? I found it as president of National Corn Growers really effective because I could have a meeting in 3 different states and get up from my desk in my house, go have lunch. I couldn't do that traveling. So there are advantages to what's coming to us, but I would suggest the last gentleman's presentation was good. It was really good, but really think about every piece of technology that we have on the farm, it's in beta. I don't care what anybody tells me. Any piece of innovation that I have on the farm, whether it's in machinery, whether it's a software program, it's in beta. AI is going to be no different. We're going to find the hiccups as we go, and as we lead ourselves into proprietary, so we protect our own data, that is probably going to be our family's focus, to make sure our data is protected, but allowing it to be utilized so that when people search, we get an aggregate picture of what's really what we're looking for answers across the Corn Belt, if you will. So I think your data melded with my data is going to get us a better answer. But how do you protect your data and I protect my data? We pull it together, and I think you probably can expand on that better than I, because one of the panelists here has been a little more closely involved in that. But that's a challenge. But we could roll into, what is the upcoming year look like? And I think as I look forward to being able to capitalize on our data, I'm still looking at retreating back to the basics and looking at the monetary decisions more as what really needs to happen so that we can be profitable during this time and be here for our kids.
That was great. That was great. Leading into that, you already started into it a little bit, John, so I'm going to just let you continue. What are you thinking as it relates to the 26 crop year, rotations, inputs, equipment purchases, Bitcoin miners, AI data centers, solar farms? I mean, a litany of the things that we hear and from the farm level all the way to, farm, regional farm decisions. What is there anything there that's dramatically going to change in dramatic or not, that you're looking at in the upcoming year?
So the question you have to ask yourself sometimes is, what is the best use of an acre? And that's dependent on who owns the land and what their need is. I have a friend that sold a farm into solar panels, but he's got a daughter that's going to need care after he and his wife are gone, and that's going to be the ticket to protect her. So I really want to think about this, or all of us think about this. You may not see it as much as I do around us. Solar farms are going up. I'm not going that direction. I'm not appalled by it because people have the right to make a decision. And as I think about it, my productive acre is going to be worth more as ground disappears. Is it disappointing? It sure is. So that's a challenge we have to think about long term. What is the impact of this on our operation? I think it could produce an opportunity for my grandchildren, my kids and my grandchildren, because there'll be less acres. Face it, we're producing more with less, but we're going to be challenged to produce a whole lot more with a whole lot less. And that's a real opportunity that I see coming, that probably my generation's not going to matter as much as Joanna and my grandchildren's generation. So I think there's real opportunities there. Crop rotations, where we live in Ohio, we just rotate corn and soybeans. It's a pretty rare occasion that we see an advantage to make a big shift. Generally, we're blessed. Basis is good. There's more soybean processing being built. We have ethanol. So we generally can find a period of time where we can capture a price on both commodities, corn and soybeans, to make it worthwhile. And our ground's a whole lot more productive if we do that rotation. Wheat does command a lot like you described. You know, if I want to do some conservation work or tiling, we'll do it, but it's so difficult to just say that's a sustainable piece of rotation for us. So to be corn and soybeans, we really need to go from the grass to legume and back.
Yeah, kind of similar to last year. We did a little bit more corn on corn, just the way the marketing worked out. Probably looking at that. We do a lot of strip till in the fall, so a lot of our inputs are out there for the corn, but we will split apply our nitrogen so we can adjust that input as needed. Equipment purchases up here on the questions, that's going to kind of remain the same. It's nice to see that some of those prices are coming down a little bit in the used market. Yeah, for that question.
Yeah, I'll just, he talked about the solar farms and less acres, but I guess if we all ask USDA, they seem to find acres every report, so I'm not sure about that. But, I mean, in all seriousness, yeah, it's this year and, the way it looks in the next few years, it's a lot of talk about wants versus needs, right? Do we need to do this? Yeah, it might give us a little bump on the bushels of corn, but is it economically beneficial? So I'm not so sure with these current prices. Are we chasing max bushels or are we chasing max profitability? And that's the decision that each individual farm has to make, because each individual farm has their own program and way to do it. So the way we go about it is going to define, I think, the next couple years. The farms that can adapt and are willing to change will stay successful. The ones that are stubborn and doing it because dad did it that way, they may find themselves in a little more trouble. So it also too, guys, we can have, come summer, we can have one big weather event and the market prices, Mitchell had up earlier, change completely. So you can't be all doom and gloom. You still got to look and hope for the best in everything.
Yeah, no, sounds good. And yeah, I think as we talk to just the broader group of our grower group and then what we're hearing from them and their neighbors, it's, guys are pulling back a little bit, trying to figure out where they can be most economical and finding the best fit for the ground that they have as relates to crop rotations. So next question, and we kind of already touched on it just a little bit, in proxy to Dorman's presentation here. What steps, if any, have you taken to incorporate AI, automation, that type of product into your farm operation, and maybe describe a thing or two if you would, and then what do you see the near future as it relates to that technology? I think Drew, you seem like you're the subject matter of the expert of the three, or at least it relates to the stuff you've been doing. So maybe let you start there.
Not expert by any means. I just had kind of a curious question. I asked a buddy the other day what he thought the percentage of farmers were that use, like AI, like a ChatGPT or a Gemini or something like that on their phone. Could you raise your hand if you've actually downloaded like a GPT, like a Chat or a Gemini or anything on your phone and use it? I don't know, what is that? Probably 30% of the room? 40%? Okay, I was guessing 20 and he was guessing 90, so I guess we'll split it. Nobody will get the money on that bet. But yeah, so just little steps. You don't quite realize that. I guess if I had one takeaway or idea for anybody that doesn't have it or use it, just you can get the Chat GPT or Gemini. They're both, you just talk to it like a person. It's crazy what you can do, or downloading the soil maps. I've done that. You throw something in there, you just talk to it like a person and throw it off the wall, and the way it spits back and it's sourced and it's cited, you can't quite wrap your head around on these the abilities of some of this stuff until you actually use it. That's the part that kind of boggles my mind, and we've been seeing that on our farm now too, where we can the biggest value in AI is the data that you feed it. Good data in, good data out. So that's what we're trying to do. We've been collecting farm data since 2000, harvest data, everything, and now you look at these precision planters when you got about 50,000 things that come off between organic matter and all that data you get. And I think I just had to put another flux capacitor in my computer so I could keep it all coming in and keep it sorted out. But it's just mind-boggling. And so we're just trying to focus on keeping our data ours and finding the right AI systems to pump it into, so it's based on our farm and our data with our soil types and our weather. So, for example, right now we got like 30 weather stations set up across our acreages right now that's kind of measuring microclimates, and that's all getting sent back to a big tower, and we're working on setting up that with a Wi-Fi, and then that's getting plugged into a data model, and then we're working with another company that's using radar penetrating from satellites, and then that's tying in, and it can use the ground truth so we can kind of see these little weather climates and things going on. Is there huge value in that right now? I don't know. You're going to go combine if the rain's coming. I understand that completely, 100%. But once you can start building this base of data, that's where that value is going to come in a year or two, and then when it can all get tied together, that's the biggest thing too. And if you can collaborate that with neighbors' farms and other farms and more acres, and put it together, it's going to be pretty incredible on what you can pull back out of that, or even having value with some of that too, between CI scores and selling your data, but keeping your raw data, but selling them the answer. We just see a big potential in that. One startup company we're working with, it's called Spornado. We got a little machine out there it's coming in, it'll measure spore counts if white mold's coming in. So right now, currently, you got to send the dish in, and then it'll tell you what your spore counts are. But once that can all be onboarded, and you can have that data basically instantaneously, hey, geez, we should probably go spray for white mold because that's a preactive instead of a reactive thing. That'd be a pretty good ROI to go maybe park the side dresser and go spray right now today because the spore counts just jumped. You got to kind of think a little bit ahead, and any opportunity we have to try to tie that in, where we can make more proactive instead of reactive decisions is going to help us out, I think, tremendously on the farm. And I guess I can just keep talking and talking, but if you guys want to throw anything in, and the data thing, I can touch on that a little bit too.
I'm going to piggyback what he says a little bit. I think probably everyone in here is full of technology, or what we at least think we're up on technology. And the one thing we've had, and we've had it for years and years already, is I call it data overload. Okay, like the precision plan. You got this, you got your yield monitors, you got this data, that data, you got all this data coming in. And like I sell some seed, we talk to guys, varieties, and they're like, yeah, all this data is cool, but what good does it do? I get this printout, oh, wow, cool. I think a big part, and it's coming and kind of piggybacks what he's doing, if we can take all this data overload, and we can combine it, and what that is, I have no idea, or what it's going to show, I have no idea, but it's going to be able to incorporate that data so we can actually use it, so it's not just, oh wow, cool, we got this map with all these cool colors on it, but where does it, to what data does it show? Does it show a positive, a negative? I don't know where that's going, but I do think that's something, to come in with, that it's going to combine all this stuff and then give us some true answers, not just guesses per se.
So I'm pretty excited to learn more about the AI that Lighthouse is using, because having marketed for a lot of years, I've always felt like the algorithms can be my friend, but they can be my nemesis. And I feel like it wasn't a level playing field. And I feel like the direction that Lighthouse has chosen to go is going to put our operation in a place where I can compete with their algorithms, with Lighthouse's AI and their algorithms. And I'm feeling really good about that because I never really have been involved with any marketing company, and it sounds like commercial, but I've never, in my experience, never heard anyone speak to the desire to compete at the level at which the market is actually operating. And so this is pretty exciting. This is going to be a great place for AI to be incorporated in my farm. And guess what? It's kind of like when I had grandchildren. I told everybody it's the best thing I ever did, and I didn't have anything to do with it. This might be the best thing that I ever did, and I didn't have anything to do with it, other than make a choice. To have someone do that for me and have that relationship and the comfort in it is going to be phenomenal.
And I'll just say one more thing too. I mean, that the amount of time that we spend, just simple things like you running 2 or 3 combines in a field, for some reason, you won't get the same bushels per acre across every combine. I mean, when you can, there's companies out there right now where you just pump it in, and then it'll come out with a nice smooth map so you're understanding how things are going or how many hours you sit there scrolling through your side-by-sides and you got to eliminate, okay, well, it was this combine we got to take out because it's not the same. Oh, wait, this was split planter too, so we got to take out these varieties. Geez, now our side-by-side isn't even a side-by-side anymore. You know, just the stuff that rather than you clicking and scrolling and doing, just that the stuff that this technology can pump out in no time is pretty crazy. I wouldn't say it's anything to be scared of. It's like I said, just use it a little bit when you go home, or simple things like if I leave a meeting, I'll pull it up and you can start a project. Hey, we talked about this at our meeting and this and this and this, and then it spits it out and remembers it for you. It's just your second brain. Or how many people serve on a township board or a church council or things like that. There's an app I use, like Firefly is what it's called. It's a free app. You click record when you start. It voice recognizes everybody in the room that's there. They talk. It gives you a whole summary after your meeting, and it breaks it down on to-do lists and everything like that. I mean, just in rural, nobody likes taking notes, and there's so many opportunities out there. You just try it, is what I'm saying, and you might like it, you might not, but no matter what, you're going to probably be pretty surprised on what it does.
Piggyback on Drew, I think he spoke something that I think you want to remember when you take away. I think the AI opportunity in crop protection is going to be huge because we'll be able to real-time react to what's going on. But yeah, I would totally agree. I can't take notes in a meeting. It's very difficult. I'll miss the meeting. And I watch people that do, and I say, you're my friend.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, as Dave's alluded through the day and everything else, and, obviously we're using multiple versions of AI in the Lighthouse business, as John alluded to. And, it's an investment to some extent, but I mean, the amount of, quite frankly, free, knowledge extension that you have out there today is almost unfathomable. And, I think the biggest thing, like, this isn't so applicable to, maybe the farming side, but, it can help you create that from a blank slate where you got maybe just one minor idea in your head, whatever it may be, whether you need to write a speech, you need to, figure out something on the agronomy side, whether you need to write a letter to, your state representative about an issue you're facing. Like, I think that's the biggest thing for so many people, is just trying to get something out of your mind. And I think 1 or 2 simple prompts on a lot of these deals, like you can, hey, give me a 3-page or 3-paragraph memo that I want to send to my state representative on this issue. And then, what would have taken you an hour in the office, say you're just like, gosh, I don't even want to do this. And 2 minutes later, you got a rough draft, you amend it, and boom, you send off an email. So I think we don't think about, like, we're always thinking, like, it's got to be this super complicated thing, but I mean, it's as Drew said, it's a second brain, really, and can really, leverage you up so that the task that you're, I think we've challenged our team, like, every time you're looking at something, like, what can we use this technology to help make this way easier? I think guys kind of alluded to already, but more in the future here, where do you see your operation 5 years from now? What do we see in the day-to-day that's going to be different? And obviously with the advent of AI, maybe it's way different than we think it is, but I know a lot of you guys are fairly forward thinkers. I guess, what are you thinking the next 5 years might be looking like for your operations?
I think data management was touched earlier, data security, keeping your data yours. I'd like to see, actually on our farm, we're working on data co-op. My cousin I farm with, trying to put together a data co-op so you can collaborate everybody's data together. What's yours is yours. You don't see anybody else's, but you can have things spit out of there. You don't know that a fungicide was actually sprayed 2 miles away and they had a different result than yours. Just that collaboration and data. And then the fact that you should be able to monetize some of this too, the way that some of these companies, whether it be an Amazon or a Walmart, why they need it, I don't know. But they're going to give you money for it. Sure, why not? But keeping that raw data secure is very important to us, but just giving them an answer to the question that they're looking for, but using your own data. I think there's actually monetary value in that, whether you're getting money in your bank account or you can kind of collaborate with a regional base. I think that's going to be pretty big. Day-to-day operations, that's still going to be, I'm still going to probably focus more on the proactives and the probability of return on doing an action on your farm. Okay, should I quit doing this to go do that? Should I park the truck, as these marketers would say, to go haul grain to town, or should I keep planting? Well, you could probably park for 1 day because the weather forecast looks 5 days and you've already planted and you got probably a day and a half left. As long as you don't have any breakdowns, you're going to make yourself another $8,000 if you go haul your corn right now because base is at 0. Okay, so that probability of return is at 80%. Well, geez, that sounds pretty good. So you're using factual data to make these decisions rather than emotional based. But don't get me wrong, rain's coming. I don't care about compaction. I'm going to get the corn off. I understand that too, but it might take some of that emotion out of some of these decisions when you can use, the probabilities from data from your farm.
We'll start doing some prediction markets here in North Dakota, like plant or haul corn, buy, sell, right? So.
For us, I think it's not as much we spent a lot of time talking about AI, right? There is so much technology in our equipment that, has AI built in, like John Deere See and Spray, or there's many companies that have it now. That's the things I think we're going to start seeing for us moving forward is the efficiencies. Just on the way up here, I got some data about, what does it take a plant to metabolize chemicals, right? So is there extra benefit other than chemical savings for a See and Spray? Yeah, the data on it wasn't quite what I thought, or I still got to go through it, right? So that's the kind of thing. Maybe we're going to start to see some automation stuff come in. For us, we store all our grain. Our bend site's all automated by, putting moisture in the beans, taking moisture out. Fine tuning, maximizing. So when we're hauling it in, it is right 14.5. There's no shrink. There's no, we didn't dry it too much. I think stuff like that for us is going to become more and more important to help our efficiency become better and better and better to maximize each dollar invested. We want to have a max ROI. And, a year from now, there might be new technology that takes it and gives us a complete left turn on it. But that's where I see a high importance of us going in 5 years. And, how will the role be different? I don't know. It depends on, like I said, like the automation stuff. The guy he had up on there sitting on the beach running his tractor from the computer. Let's be honest. It's a possibility. I'm not saying it's a reality, but it's a very good possibility. At some point, we may be running multiple things by one person, and there might be one guy that's just running around fixing stuff when it shuts down. I mean, who knows? But for us, I think it's a lot of that type of stuff moving forward that we're going to have to stay, on top of or be willing to try out.
I think that when I picture the 5-year look forward on the farm, it's not going to look a lot different on the outside, but I hope it feels a lot different on the inside, because it's kind of like Dave said, I really look forward to AI making the office work a little less time consuming, to be able to automate some of the requirements that we have to do. But it's like any piece of equipment we have out there now, it only works if the sensors work. So we're going to be the sensor. So it's not like we blindly turn it loose. We're going to have to watch it. We're going to monitor it. I have been reluctant, because I have friends in the banking, to ever go electronic fully on our banking. And I figured out, okay, I'm pretty comfortable with my grain checks going to a lender, then back to me if I don't need it, as versus coming to me and then me going to the lender. Because if the person writing the check has a data breach, my lender has an issue. I don't. And I think about things in that regard. How do I safeguard myself? But another friend has a big business, and he said, "You're not doing online banking?" And I said, "Not so much." And he said, "Well, your account's in the cloud and everybody else has access to it. You might as well too." Well, he's right. And I'm having struggles with the mail, Stop payment on a $4,000 check because nobody got paid when you mailed it. That's really disappointing. And you wonder who got that piece of mail with sensitive information. Like the IRS still sends me stuff through the mail. Did I get every notice? So I need to embrace, but I need to, I started using VPNs, just get her toe wet to see how secure that helps me feel. But so I really don't think from the outside people are going to recognize a lot of difference when they drive by and look at us operating our farm. I don't think they're going to see operatorless tractors in 5 years on our operation. But what they won't know is what technology is being used and what happens on the backside and what's going on in the shop. The decision to only replace what needs to be replaced because it's no longer viable to keep spending money repairing it. Those kind of decisions people aren't going to recognize. We're going to make it look good enough. They're not going to be able to tell how old it is when we're in the field. So it's not going to look a lot different, but it's going to feel a lot different. And I can't really say I 100% know what the 5-year looks like. But maybe it's, like I said, the kids will call me and say, "I need you today," or I'll show up and they say, "Just go away. It's going to be fine. The wife's retired. We'll find something to do." But, I think our roles will be deeply rooted in, even if the kids take it over, we'll just kind of plagiarize the lighthouse at the end. How do I, as a founder of the operation, keep things from hitting the rocks, right? So you're never going to turn a blind eye, but you have to let folks make decisions, make mistakes. And I'd really like for the AI decisions to be theirs and not mine. I'd really like to take a pass on that. Maybe maybe I won't get to, but that's where I see it.
I'll just add one more too on like that updating. I know the question was earlier on updating, like to chat about or whatever when you choose to upload PDFs and stuff too. I'm actually kind of trying to work through that. First, didn't quite realize you could upload them that easy. Like, I'm gonna take a picture of every one of these. No, that's not gonna work. So, but yeah, it's easy to pull up too. And then you can get into some of this AI stuff. Then you hear the word like agents. You've probably heard that before too. So we're trying to see how we can set those up on our farm. Whether you have one that just kind of manages all your repair records or things like that, and service manuals. Okay, so that's one, and it's always working. And everybody gets tired of going through 20 emails in the morning about, okay, well, you got a Lighthouse one, and you got one from Jim Wiesmeyer, and then you got a different marketing one, and then you got this, that. Okay, well, you can set these up to kind of personalize to pull out. Okay, I want to know what corn market's doing today, and what input should I be looking at today? So it can prioritize through all those emails real quick, and it'll just give you a quick breakdown so you can spend 4 minutes reading your emails instead of an hour and a half of looking through all that stuff. So trying to set up that personal aspect on some of our things, which just all takes time. You just got to take time to do it. I think once it gets set up, it's going to be pretty incredible.
So those are the end of the formal questions, and I guess I'd probably just open up to the group here. If there's something that one of these guys said sparked a question, a thought, feel free, raise your hand or speak out. The lights are a little blinding, so I can only see about half of the crowd here. But yeah, anybody have questions, thoughts, comments, anything you want to add?
So you had mentioned Jim Wiesmeyer, so that's a big one to follow. Are there any other podcasts or emails that you can subscribe to, markets or updates, mainly ag, but just anything in general?
I'm actually pretty surprised. I picked this up at a marketing thing a couple years ago too. Was just social media. I don't have Facebook or anything, but you'd be surprised on how much stuff is on X. Don't follow any of your friends. Don't worry about what their dog's doing. Just don't even post. Maybe make a whole separate account and just follow anybody marketing, or if you're interested in diesel and things like that. It's incredible. I mean, how fast, that stuff was posted an hour ago, and you can, that way you're not getting into some death scroll on something, but you're actually looking for relative information, and that's how you want it, kind of, how we can lose a train of thought. And I'm surprised on how much I grab off of X, I guess. If you don't have an account, I'd try it. And yeah, podcast too as you're driving. I just don't have any real big recommendations on podcasts, just anything ag related that you get interested in. There's a lot of good podcasts out there if you're not listening to any, I guess.
Anything else? All right. 5:01, I'd say we hit her pretty close, so. Appreciate you guys for spending a little time with us up here. Yeah, if you guys want to give these guys a round of applause, I think it's great that they can be open with us and give us a little perspective of what they got going on. The one last thing before we adjourn, we'll have bar over there, drinks, and then I think the hors d'oeuvres are out in the foyer area. What everybody came here for was the gun drawing, of course. And I believe Carly used her wheel of randomness, so this is pure randomness. I believe Doug Reimers is the winner this year, so there you go. So, but we appreciate everybody coming. We hope you had a good time. We appreciate you, especially with the weather here. For a lot of you still drive home yet tonight, so definitely drive safe, and again, appreciate it. Anything that you got follow-up questions on, apps, AI questions, obviously reach out to our farm marketers, and we can get you in touch with the subject matter experts. So with that, have a great rest of the evening, and thanks again.